You were
anymore.
going to give us a demonstration of
You
some
were gonna,
technique.
yeah, that was, you asked for the paintbrushes,
Okay.
and I imagine us on this side of the room should come over if we wanna see.
Yeah, I guess I might as well just begin. Why don't you take this back then, Deanna, and give me, do you mind if I work on your one?
Yeah.
Give me Deirdre's one, please. And then I'll just show you very quickly, and my little tray, and give me one of those boards that I can put in my lap. Well, I've got something here. This is good. Okay.
Others?
Wait.
Is that what you meant?
Yeah, that's it. What did I say?
Okay.
Okay. A little light on the subject wouldn't be too bad. Can we just spin it around a little bit? Yeah, would that help? Not much. Spin it a bit more. A bit more. Are you going to set up on this?
Well, it depends on what you want. Do you want to see the people behind you, or?
Yeah, this is not going to work. If you're going to set up on this, we need a light over my shoulder, over my left shoulder here. You didn't bring any lights or anything.
No, what about that light upstairs? Is it doable? Is it gettable? Yeah.
No, it's down here. It's right here.
Great.
We could just show you.
Yeah, that would probably be easier.
Yeah, that would probably be easier. Oh, thanks.
But does not get to see it?
We could just have you move the chair so the light's behind you.
Does the mountain come to my arm or what? I'm not sure about that. Let me get it straight. Okay, so, right, and what we did with this was we lacquered it earlier. That's like that, so it's good and dry. And it's got a semi-gloss sheen on it. You can't see it very well from here. But when we get the light set up on it, you'll see what I'm doing. You really want to help us? You hold these things? Yeah? Okay, great. I'll just choose a couple of, I was going to, that's right, I was going to show you a very quick little trick. Just hold it.
Light coming on.
Okay, brilliant. Oh, wow, what a
Oh.
Okay.
Lacquer.
All right, everybody, let me get this out of the way. I was saying that the Art Students League is a guy who was the top man at the Art Students League. His name was Knox Martin. He became a good friend of mine. And he taught me this, and this is a very, very basic thing. I was just a kid. And he said you take two sticks and you put it so that there's 4 quadrants on your picture. All right? So if you do that, I'll pass them around, and you do that, centering on the center, and the vertical and horizontal. Now, as it's being handed around, as Kevin gives it over to the next one, Kevin, you'll see that each quadrant was different, which is what it should be. It should be different. But on top of that, there should be interest in each quadrant, something to focus on. So that in your overall design, you should be aware of that, to look at it when you're looking at it. And looking at your picture, it's as important that you look at it longer than you work on it. To just sit and, well, you can have the television on or some distraction going on, but spend a lot of time going back and forth and looking, and you'll discover things that you didn't see at first. And they'll pop out to you and say, oh, I think I could do that, or I can have this idea, that idea. Part of it is filling in those 4 quadrants. And the other thing, the other dictum, like these are the 2 basic dictums of all for making a picture. The square inch test. That you then grid it up in your mind that every square inch has to be finished to a degree that it stands as something. Could be just texture, could be color, could be shading, could be anything, a little detail, a little ant, a little fly. Anything. But every square inch should have something saying for it, and then you're away. Okay, it's time to shut up and let's start playing with this. Now, you've all used different kinds of poster paints and oils and acrylics and things, and that's fine. But now, I'm going to take a drink for a minute. Talk amongst yourselves.
Here, I've got her.
Okay,
There's one.
are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
With that said and done, now what you want to use is a thing called Prismacolor. Is that right, Deanna? Is that right?
No, they're called neopastels.
Neopastels.
Type of oil pastel.
Deanna will be sending you, if Deanna doesn't mind, and she does so much as it is, but she'll give you a little bit of information on where you can purchase these things. You must have them, and you must have this type, because it's oils, but it's embedded, it's pigment, rich pigment, embedded in very thick vegetable oils, instead of linseed oil, which is a seed oil. I guess it's also a vegetable, but it's a very stable oil. It doesn't run. So that when you put, and this is where oil and water come in. You know, the old schools, they used to teach you, I was taught this way, oil and water don't mix. You can't, for God's sake, you know, they're mixing oil and water. Turner is a great mixer of oil and watercolor. So it's the fools that teach schools, I tell you. You wouldn't believe it. You wouldn't believe it. Anyway, you mix oil and water. You put your water in now. Now we have water. Now I have oil, very thick oil on a brush like this. Any kind of brush will do, but I like these square ones, okay? These, what are they called, Deanna?
Pig bristle?
Pig bristles.
What do
Okay.
you call them?
It's not what I had in mind, but.
No, well.
Now, what I'm doing is I'm highlighting. There are two things now you have to do, and they just consist of black and white, light and shade. Now you're shading. So you just lay it on like this. Because the cheek is what's coming out, so we want that to be lightest in the middle. Now I'm going to do it a little quicker than I would ordinarily do it, just to give you an idea of what I'm doing. Tapping is a great way to apply paint, by the way. I started out stroking, which is another way, and when you want more detail and more control. But just tapping will deposit a lot of pigment in there. You see that? You see that, Kevin?
Mm-hmm.
Look at that. Can you see that changing?
It's like you're doing her makeup.
There you are. Okay? So,
He's going for the dagger.
head chopped off me. All right. Did I upset you about anything?
That's something I said.
Okay. All right. I'm going to just finish off roughly those areas that want to carry an illusion that they're closer to you. Now, I mean, this is very quick. Believe me, it's rough, because what you want to do is soften. As you know about makeup, soften, soften, soften. It's always about softening edges. So that will take you many layers of lacquer, and then going back again with smaller brushes and looking hard and close. But believe me, at the end of the day, it's worth it, and it's the only way to do it, is to slowly build it up. Don't be too, as you see, I'm not putting a lot of paint on there. It's just happening. Just happening. And there are different methods. You can tap, you can brush. I like to just scribble it on. Yeah, I think that's the way Patty paints, isn't it, Patty?
Whatever takes my fancy.
Back and forth.
Yeah.
That's the key. Experimentation is wonderful. The more you experiment, the more you learn. Okay, and here. Now this is just the briefest, very quick way to give an example of what can happen. Now, do you see that difference? And that is just the start. Because now, it's getting even more exciting, because now we do the darks. The lights are easy. The darks have to be very subtle. So I apply the pigment this way. I take the crayon basically, but it's oil. And I take the bristles and I rub them on it a little bit. Just really, really gently. Amazing how much can be on there from that little application. And the paints last forever. So right away, I love these eyelashes, and I think we can even enhance them a little bit. Just give them a little more shadow. Huh? Even sexier beast, huh? There we are. And bring that shadow down kind of to the top of the eye. I'm feeling this now, I could be wrong, but It's all about different layers of blends. You're blending everything, softening everything, so that the more the eye can pick up every subtle little difference. Look, I'm scribbling this on there, but it's picking up these little differences